Are you struggling for consistency in your sim racing? Does your iRating look like a roller coaster? If so, we have good news for you. The way to get more consistent is to first understand what you're doing differently than the professionals. And VRS is the answer. With our competitive subscription, you will have the telemetry, setups, tutorials, and everything else you need to fully analyze your driving. Our data packs and the ability to compare your driving with the best in the world will show you exactly where to adjust your inputs, change your driving line, and shave seconds off of your lap times. And our powerful and precise Direct Force Pro wheelbase and precision pedals are being used by some of the world's best drivers. All these champions agree that VRS hardware is not just the best on the market, it's also priced well below the competition. So if you're looking to upgrade to direct drive and the best pedals in sim racing, VRS is your answer. If you want to get better, get faster, and make it happen sooner rather than later, you owe it to yourself to find out why so many people are switching to VRS. You'll be so glad that you did. Visit www.virtualracingschool.com and learn why the best use VRS.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
From the flat airfields of Sebring to the sun-drenched hills of southern Portugal, the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge now crosses the Atlantic for round number 4. Set at the breathtaking Autodromo Internacional de Algarve, known to racers around the world simply as Portimao. I'm Greg Ginsberg, along with Larry Lefty McLeod in the commentary box and Jonathan Grabowski behind the scenes, making all the viewers here on Apex Racing TV, making sure all the viewers have the best seat in the house. After a rain-soaked battle in Florida, tonight's 75-minute contest brings a new kind of test: elevation, rhythm, and pure momentum. This circuit is a roller coaster of asphalt rising and falling across the Algarve countryside. Each lap demands commitment, blind crests, off-camber corners, and braking zones that tempt the brave and punish people like me, Larry, the overconfident. Good evening, Larry, and welcome to Portugal.
Yes, welcome to Portugal, where the track couldn't be any more different than where we were just 2 weeks ago at Sebring, where, as you said, it was flat, it was raining. This is not flat, and it is not raining here at Algarve. It is absolutely beautiful, sunny here in southwestern Europe. It's gorgeous, and this place is not flat. This is nothing but a big giant up and down hills everywhere. Everything's a blind crest. There are no super long straightaways. This is going to be a bit of a challenge for these drivers tonight to mitigate traffic and to find the ways to pass. We've seen it before in this series. Passing is at a premium. Won't be any different tonight. We'll see who can get the good track position to come away victorious.
Yeah, Larry, we were here for season 13, I think right around the 4th of July, right around the middle of the year, pardon me. And it was the first time our World Challenge drivers had descended upon Portimao, 2.9 miles, 15 turns. And we've got a lot of rookies this season, Larry, that I tend to believe that perhaps this may be, with the exception of testing earlier this week, might be the very first time some of these racers have come to Portimao.
It may be. We know that when we ran here, as you said, back in July or so, there were a lot of folks that night even claiming that they hadn't seen the track yet. We've got 48 or so entries here tonight. I'm guessing some folks finally figured this place out. It was a relatively new track back then. It is no longer new, but still not yet widely used. So we'll see who put in the time, put in the effort. This is the kind of track where you'll see someone come out, put it on pole, put it on the front row that doesn't normally have that kind of performance. That's what I'm looking for, to see who put in the effort, who put in the time, is trying to get a good result here at this round.
All right, so we are now just a little bit over halfway through our qualifying session, Speed Lab qualifying here in the Ricmotech World Challenge. And as our drivers are trying to find their way around this 15-turn course, let's pick out some of those racers if we can. We'll jump over to Fernando Takahashi in his BMW M Hybrid. And he is currently your fourth fastest driver. Like all of the GTP racers, Larry, he's got the black number boards on the sides of the car, black windshield banners and end plates on the wings. And of course, you'll be able to pick them out on our timing tower on the left-hand side that is color-coded as well. Appears as though almost all of our Dallara racers, with the exception of Justin Barrera, who earlier in the YouTube chat, Larry, said, "I don't know how to drive this track," quote unquote. Justin is one of our LMP2 Dallara drivers, and all the LMP2 racers, they've got the blue number boards and windshield banners on the cars. And then over in GT3, of course, we've got our Pro and we've got our AM classes. Right now, Jordan Rick Sagrini, hi mom, in the Mercedes, and like all of our Pro racers, he's got the red number boards, mirrors, windshield banners, yada yada on the car, whereas our AM drivers, let's see if we've got any AM drivers out on track. I think we do. John Casey in his Acura, and Larry was telling us before we went on air where the Acura are probably not the car to have here at Portimao, but all the AM drivers, they've got the green number boards on the sides of the cars. They've got the green windshield banners and mirrors to boot. And as we take a look here in LMP2, currently our fastest driver is Alex Crow out of Canada in the number 990 Dallara, with Bobby Babaletskos second fastest, Caleb Lehman third fastest. All of those drivers have completed their 4 flying laps. Over in the GTP field, a little bit of a surprise is Stephen Hudek was our fastest driver in practice this week, but Daniel Molina, fastest driver around Portimao by almost, looks like, Larry, almost a half second. They're faster than Stephen Hudek, with Fernando Takahashi third fastest. We're watching right now Bobby Childs, who just completed his 4th and final flying lap. And then over in the the GT3 field, we're taking a look at Ethan Bass, who is running right towards the top of the point standings in GT3 Pro. Matter of fact, Larry, I think right now, and he's coming off of the win in Sebring. He is your points leader at the moment in GT3 Pro, currently 14th fastest, but currently working his 3rd of 4 final flying laps here in Speed Lab qualifying. We'll see if he can improve. Currently, it's Leo Dragota, who was our fastest driver in testing during the week in his Orion Mercedes. His teammate Mike Dam at a BMW, second fastest. Brian Bennett from Sector 5 in his McLaren, third fastest. And in AM, Chester Guidry in his BMW M4 GT3 Evo, currently your fastest driver in the AM field, and he's got a pretty good advantage here, as he's got, at the moment, Larry, I think 7 pro drivers between he and Chase West. It is McLaren and Neil Weston who make up the second and third fastest drivers in AM.
Yeah, that 0.4 of a second between Guidry and West really does make up a lot of places, though. It doesn't seem like much, just 0.4. We talk about having 6 other drivers in between you. That's going to help Chester potentially get off to a nice, strong start. We'll see if that actually pays off for him in his BMW tonight.
Yeah, now, of course, in seasons past, that could have huge complications in the point standings, as our GT3 drivers were given points based on their overall finish, regardless of whether they were in the pro field or the AM field. Now the AMs are scored separately, and so having 7 drivers between them in the whole scheme of things, points-wise, not that big an issue, but certainly if you're looking for the race win in AM, it's going to be a big fight here early on for Weston, Aaron Sunday as well, who are going to be gritting up all very close to one another.
Yeah, it's certainly going to be a challenge for them to try and keep up with Guidry, but we know we've seen some crazy things at this track when we were here the last time. We'll see if that comes true again. I remember things like tire wear was an issue. We'll see if that plays a part tonight. And obviously we know that the battle that we had for the wins last time came down to track position. And so come to the end of the night, he who leads may stand the best chance of holding on to that victory. Late race passes are tough to come by.
Indeed they are. So, Larry, we were originally scheduled to have Connor Nixon, driver of the number 2 Orbit Drop Bear Motorsport GTP Porsche, in with us for a pre-race interview. It doesn't appear as though Mr. Nixon made it out for qualifying.
That's correct. I don't even think he signed in tonight, so unfortunately he's not going to, unless he wants to join us for pre-race, even if he's not racing. We would take him for sure, but I don't see him.
All right, so we now have just about 15 seconds remaining here in Speed Lab qualifying. I want to remind everybody that we are happy once again to have Ricmotech as our title sponsor, and they will once again be offering up $100 in Ricmo bucks to be given away at the end of the season based on a random drawing. And the more you win, the better you do, the better you place, the more entries you get in that drawing. And of course, Ricmo bucks can be spent on purchases at ricmotech.com. So, Larry, with Speed Lab qualifying over, let's take a look at the Speed Lab qualifying results and our starting order for tonight's 75-minute race from Portimao. Starting on pole tonight in his GTP Porsche from Rosso Esports, it's Daniel Molina. Bit of a surprise there with SRT Esports Stephen Hudek starting on the outside of row number 1. Fernando Takahashi will start third tonight for Rosso Esports, with Dalton Fredericks from HSR Phantom Racing starting in 4th. Michelle Squarick will start 5th tonight in the Squarick Motorsports Ferrari, with Carlos Barrero in his BMW M-Power starting in 6th. Then we've got Jake Zito from HSR Phantom Racing in his Porsche 963 GTP scheduled to start 7th. Aaron Beaver from D2D in his Acura ARX06 will start 8th. Starting 9th is Bobby Childs, also in a D2D Acura, with Robert Schwenkler from The Wrong Stuff driving his Cadillac. He is going to start 10th. And then rounding out the GTP field today is going to be Jimbo Pfeiffer from Sector 5 Racing in his Acura. Moving over to the LMP2 Delares, Alex Crow, coming to us from Majors Esport and Canada, will start on pole, with Bobby Babaletskos starting 2nd in the 316 machine. Caleb Lehman will start 3rd. Caleb Lehman, with Kevin McPherson starting in 4th. Jordan Butler and Justin Barrera will make up row number 3. And rounding out the field will be Jake Vasconcelos. Jake did not go out for qualifying. He was assigned an end-of-the-line penalty at the race in Sebring and did not take part. Larry, over to you for the GT3s.
All right, on the pole tonight, it is Leo Dragotta going to be starting us out with an all-Orion front row. Alongside him, his teammate Mike Dam. On the second row, Brian Bennett from Sector 5 Racing going to be qualifying all the way up there on that second row in that McLaren. He'll be lined up alongside Ken Copeland from The Wrong Stuff. On row 3, it's another Wrong Stuff driver, Michael Brooks. Will be on the inside alongside, well, he won the last round. He is your championship leader right now, Ethan Bass from Corbett Drop Bear Motorsports. Behind them, Jordan Ricmotech, another one a little lower than we expected. He's second in championship. He's going to start this race in 7th. He's going to be lined up alongside Nick Risaputo from Segrini Soldiers. On the row behind them, Brian Coxon from Orion Race Team alongside Ilya Speaker from Rockefeller Racing. Next row back, Tyler King from Super Lap alongside your highest AM qualifier, Chester Goodry from HTPK. Behind them, it's Travis Schwenke from Orion Race Teams on the inside alongside Rockefeller Racing's Keith Stein. Next row back, Lucas Dragota from Dragon Sport Racing and Charlie Hosea from Rockefeller Racing GT3. Behind them, the Speed Labs esports driver Filippo Barberi alongside Dre Divock from The Wrong Stuff. Then you've got a couple AM drivers, Chase West from Lead Paw Racing and Neil Weston from HTPK. Then Aaron Sunday from OHND alongside Jeff Jacobs from SCCA Foundation, Dan Carrito from DCR Sim Racing, Andre Wedderburn from Speed Lab Esport, Stephen May from Mayforce, Jesse Ansley from Speed Lab Esport, Adam Cohen from Speed Lab Esport, John Casey from Frito Sport, and then last but not least, Greg Brockway, also from Frito Sport Racing.
All right, there you go. That is your 47 car field, as it doesn't look like Jimbo Pfeiffer has taken to the track in his Sector 5, in his SRT Acura. So checking here as our field making their way around on their pace lap. And as they are, let's remember that tonight's race stewards are provided by the SCCA Foundation. The SCCA Foundation provides the funding for the SCCA Academy, training the next generation of race workers and volunteers that make real-life road racing events possible. Visit sccafoundation.org for more information. That they imported an old Ford Mustang, Larry, it looks like, out to Portimao.
Yep, you can still get those old S187s around out there somewhere. But we were talking about how this was the track that if somebody puts a time in, could maybe have a high qualifying position. Perhaps that is Daniel Molina tonight out qualifying the man who's been on pole quite a bit, Stephen Hudak. So this could be a good start if Molina in his Porsche can get a good strong going and stay ahead of Hudak. But also you take a look at Alex Crow and Bobby Bobletskos in the LMP2s. That could be a fun battle at the front of that field. But it's deep all around. There are just so many battles that are going to come forward tonight. This is not going to be easy. I'm hoping we can have clean racing for at least the first half of tonight, but it's going to be a busy, busy traffic-filled evening.
Yeah, it certainly is, as our drivers now making their way down the hill, down through Gulp, turn 15, the final corner here at Portimao. They'll be coming onto the straight, and as they get to the entrance to the pit lane, Larry, that will start the start zone right about now, and our starter could give that command to start at any time. As he looks over the field, if he likes what he sees, we'll get the green flag. And green flag is in the air, and we are racing, Larry, at Portimao, as Daniel Molina from the inside lane has a very good jump on Stephen Hudak as they come down into turn 1. Jumping to the inside was Bobby Childs. Didn't get a good run, however, and he's going to slot in towards the back of the field here as Hudak now under attack from Dalton Fredericks, and Dalton Fredericks in the number 20 Porsche jumps up in the second position with Fernando Takahashi slotting in the third. Hudak drops to fourth as our Dallara LMP3 machines get the green flag. Alex Crow leading Caleb Lehman down into turn number 1 as they're too wide, a little bit behind, with Jordan Butler and Kevin McPherson going at it as they come into the little kink at turn 2 and that hairpin over at Lagos. Turn number 3 is our GT3 racers now getting the green flag. Leo Dragota jumping out to an early lead over his teammate Mike Dam. Brian Bennett in the McLaren pushing Dam to the outside, but as the track switches back to the left going through turn 4, they're still door to door, and it is looks like it's going to be 3 wide with Ken Copeland moving into the chat as well.
Good position for Copeland on the inside. There's contact. It looks like Bennett's going to be the loser on that one. He ends up on the outside. He'll have to filter back in the pack. That's going to ruin that great starting position for him. But Ken Copeland forcing that 3 wide, holding an inside line, really got the payoff.
Yeah, and Dam just had nowhere to go as he was sandwiched in the middle, made contact with both cars, and then
wide.
you had that McLaren just going wide to the outside.
And more contact for Bennett now as he's trying to get back on track. It is getting feisty in there as we follow him. Look at him with Lucas Rigoda now side by side. Bennett has probably already got about 8x with the way his first couple of corners have gone. He's probably hoping to have a cleaner start than this.
Yeah, indeed. There's a lot of contact between Bennett and Ilya Speaker. Is Bennett now down in 10th position in Pro, so dropping almost 7 positions there with that contact between Mike Dam, and also Ken Copeland.
Yeah, on board here with Chase West. Everyone's still trying to get this sorted. I see cars going wide there, and then West gets spun around as well. Get another view of him as he's now trying to recover, just staying off the track as long as he can.
And that might have been Stein that got together with him.
Maybe.
And yeah, let's
take a look here from the chopper as West on the inside in that McLaren.
You just lost the rear end, Larry.
He did lose it all by himself, unfortunately. And I see Stein spun track left.
Right, yeah.
Separate incident. He might have been the one that made contact, perhaps with one of the other Rockefeller Racing entries. Let's see if we can get a replay. But yeah, look at this with teammates. Is that Speaker along his inside? Who is that? Oh, that's Charlie Hosea.
Yeah, that's
that makes
Hosea.
contact.
And gets the double tap.
Barberi comes in and taps him and tries to keep him pointing in the right direction. Stein, though, still spins it around. Man, crazy start to this thing. Meanwhile, take a look at our GTPs coming around for their first lap. Molina still with the lead. Dalton Fredericks, though, up to second. It's Takahashi over Hudak. That was the big change there. Through that turn one incident, Hudak got shuffled from second all the way back to fourth.
Yeah, huge surprise there. Again, Hudak, our fastest driver in practice during the week. And last 2 weeks ago, last round in GTP, Hudak ended up finishing in third after starting on pole. And same story, had issues early on in the race, yeah.
Hudak led most of the race, had some issues there with some lap traffic.
Yeah.
Takahashi, of course, he had been involved with several incidents, including maybe the one at the end of the race,
lap.
and as well as one at the opening lap. So he's trying to keep his nose clean here at the start of this thing in that BMW of his. Right now, just ahead of Hudak, as we've got more slow cars coming out of this. That's Trey Divock. Let's see if we can catch a replay on this one. Man, this is getting crazy. That's Wedderburn right in front of him. Divock losing it on the brakes, but recovers. But I think the tires were already starting to get a little bit of a hot spot, and he goes around all by himself. And who's that spinning right behind him? One of the Speed Labs.
Yep, that was one of the Speed Lab McLarens back behind.
It is
and
Ainsley.
That was Jesse Ainsley in the
cold
328
tires.
machine.
Yeah, cold tires catching everybody up. He just kind of lost it going in, tried to carry too much speed. Might have gotten to the back of one of the vehicles in front of him. Not much contact, but wow. Crazy start again. Cold tires, a lot of traffic, 48 cars on this 2.6 mile or 2.7 mile track. Is very small track for this many cars.
And Larry, we talked about Jimbo Pfeiffer not taking the green.
Yeah.
He may have started from the pit lane. I'm showing now that he has completed 2 laps and he's in the pits already.
Yeah, rough start there for Jimbo, unfortunately, in his GTP entry. As we take a look now, what's going on in the LMP2s. There's a couple of teammates here, of course. There are Caleb Lehman and Kevin McPherson trying to keep up with the early leader, Alex Crow. I suspect these teammates probably working well together to try and do what they can to catch Alex for the lead. Meanwhile, Jordan Butler's already falling almost 4 seconds back in the DNA entry.
And a little bit, and I'm wondering if this is internet connectivity. It looks like Jeff Jacobs just had a nice little fight going on with Adam Cohen. Jacobs currently running 15th in Pro, Cohen 7th in AM. We may check in on them a little bit later, but this fight a little bit further back in LMP3 with Jordan Butler, Bobby Babaletsco's, Justin Barrera, and Jake Vasconcelos. Now all just lined up behind.
Babaletscos had gotten shuffled back on these opening laps. Now he's trying to recover, get some of that position back. as they all continue to watch Alex Crow, Caleb Lehman, and Kevin McPherson sort of pulling away in the front of this group. These guys battling is not really helping to maintain pace. Butler really struggling to keep that thing pointed right. I suspect maybe he didn't get the practice in this week that some of the others did. Boboletsko's actually looks faster, but this is that point where we talk about how hard it is to find passing around this Portimao circuit. And yes, Jordy, we think the race marshals are paid not per diem, but per incident. So they're going to definitely collect a big check tonight.
Here and at Road Atlanta.
All right, we'll take a look at Tyler King, running currently in 7th in GT3 Pro, behind Nick Rusaputo and Jordan Rick Segrini, who's had a couple of good rounds, and Rick Segrini maybe didn't get the best qualifying here tonight in that Mercedes.
Yeah, Rick Segrini, who finished 2nd 2 weeks ago at Sebring in the rain. Of course, that having been, and with Rasputo finishing 3rd, with Sebring being one of their home tracks in real life, you would expect they've probably had a good amount of wet weather practice there. We'll see how they do tonight. As these drivers came through, it looks like Dan Carrillo just had a bit of an issue. And that's going to be problematic for rear downforce. And Larry, you said that the Acuras might be having some issues.
I struggled.
Here.
So that's the car I chose to try some laps around here earlier in the week. And what I found was it always seems to struggle around these tight corners. You have to do a lot of throwing it. Well, Dan Carrillo just threw it pretty hard there. Yeah, you definitely have to throw it. It would have been better
if he threw it to the left instead of to the right. But
it definitely struggles on some of these tighter, decreasing radius corners. And unfortunately for Dan, that's going to require some repairs to his Acura. And we've got some penalties I can hear from the stewards already being handed out. Let's see who this last one was handed to.
Sounds like the 48 car, Larry, and had contact with, I think, the 86 of Speaker, as well as...
That's Keith Stein. Would be the 48 that's being penalized post-race, 10 seconds.
And I thought they said the 101 and the 86. Might have been just the 1 and the 86.
I think that was the incident that he was. That was what we had seen Charlie Hosea in contact with Keith Stein. They're going to put the penalty on Stein for that one. And Filippo Barberi was the other car that was potentially involved in that one. Yeah. There's some other incidents still under review. We'll see what happens. Oh, and you talked about Jimbo Pfeiffer starting from the pits tonight, and then already in 2 laps he was in the pits. He just disconnected. He's going to go ahead and call it an early night, perhaps go catch the Lions game.
And looks like Aaron Beaver may have done the same as well. So 2 GTP Acuras out early on.
I suspect Jimbo Pfeiffer's probably watching Game 7 of the ALCS, since I believe he is from the Pacific Northwest.
Yeah, I was going to say, is he a big Mariners fan?
He might be, just guessing. There's a lot of things to watch. But you know what? The best thing to watch on Monday nights is right here, Apex Racing TV, Ricmotech Mondays.
That is right. All right. Neil Weston now given a drive-through penalty for his contact with the 76 machine.
Oh, here comes the traffic. They're 3 wide. These are some of your competitive GTP cars trying to get through. That is Dalton Fredericks.
Yeah.
And now you got Jake Zito trying to do the same thing, going through traffic. There's Hudak. Oh, it is spicy.
Yes, it is.
That's Schwenkler.
Schwenkler, who moved from the GT3 ranks up to GTP this season for the wrong stuff.
Yeah, Schwenkler on a pretty good start to this race. Now trying to make his way around Dalton Fredericks. Not finding the line here in traffic quite yet. He's going to have to work it out somewhere else. But they both, I believe that's Michelle Squirk then. It's just a couple of cars in front. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Squirk in the orange Ferrari just ahead.
Squirk had missed the round at Sebring, but had a couple of runner-up finishes the 2 previous rounds. So she's certainly one to watch, one to be in contention here. But Fredericks and Schwenkler are trying to ruin that for her tonight. The other battle in GTPs would be the Hudek chasing down Fernando Takahashi. As the Canadian and the Brazilian are battling it out. Oh, these big long cars and all these hairpins. Honestly, tonight I wouldn't be surprised to see without difficult these GTPs maybe to navigate. Some LMP2s really staying up there in the overall results. The LMP2 just being a lighter car is a lot easier to throw around in some of these corners.
Currently running lap times, what, about 4 seconds off
That's
front
it.
running GTP cars. Yeah,
not
and
much. Again, there's no super long straightaways here. There aren't a lot of high-speed corners where the extra downforce can help you. It's a lot of starting and stopping, and frankly, that's what the LMP2s do a little better because they are a lighter car. We've seen that before in this series when a GTP and an LMP2 go into the corner together, that the later breaker is actually the LMP2.
Two wrong stuff racers, Ken Copeland, Michael Brooks, currently running second and third in their Mercedes. Mike Dam, who was part of that opening sandwich with Copeland, now sitting back in fourth position.
Yeah, remember Dam started on the front row right next to his teammate Leo Dragota, and now he's been shuffled back. So they're all trying to keep young Leo in their sights. Not an easy thing to do. Copeland right now 2.5 seconds back from Leo. As we flash to the back of the field here, Stephen May trying to chase down Neil Weston.
Neil Weston. And so, Larry, something I hadn't heard before, the HTPK racer, I guess inducing his right of review. It's almost sounding like F1, and the stewards took a second look at the incident where he was assigned a drive-through penalty, and they have upheld that. So we'll likely see Weston heading to the pit lane here momentarily. And it looks like Filippo Barberi on the pit lane after having some sort of issue here early on.
Oh yeah, that's a big slide.
That's a big issue.
And that's going to be a guardrail he just missed.
Oh.
But he still calls the toe. Huh.
Interesting.
It could be one of those frustration toes. It can be frustrating at certain times around this track. I think the reward is there, but it takes a lot of time to really grind the laps in to get the feel of what this track likes. And sometimes it just doesn't feel good.
All right, as we jump back to Michelle Squarick and Dalton Fredericks, battle for fourth. And Robert Schwenkler, who is right up there with Squarick and Fredericks, now falls back. Let's take a look and see what happened to him. As he rotates down the hill and rotates still.
That's a lot of rotation. That is a lot of rotation.
Yeah, I believe that was over at that double apex turns 10 and 11.
Yeah, that's a really tough corner. It kind of goes off camber on you. It's a bit of a blind entry, and then it's really decreasing radius. The fast way is to kind of drive in with some medium speed and then head deep on the brakes, but so hard to do in these longer GT and prototypes.
All right, as we jump back to Jesse Ainsley in the Speed Lab entry, trying to make a bit of a recovery run here.
It's the same corner, isn't it?
Yeah, I was going to say, you don't recover by going straight into the wall, but I would suspect that he's probably going to be making a run to the pit lane pretty soon.
Yeah. Well, Fredericks continue to pressure on Squarick here for the fourth position. With traffic that could be playing into Dalton's hands. As they come off that final turn 15, so much fun. The thing just drops away and then comes back up as you go on the main front straightaway. Very, very fun, fast corner. The only true fast corner on the track. And this turn 1 is probably your best passing zone. And then you get that small kink as you head down to Lagos here at turn 3. Probably one of the more critical ones because you got this uphill left-hander that is completely blind. It's hard to, we'll have to get an onboard shot tonight to see how blind that turn 4 really is. And as you come down this hill, downhill braking.
Down into another hairpin, yeah.
Oh, another hairpin that is just, you got to be on the brakes. It feels like forever because of its downhill. And then it goes right back up the next hill, another blind kink here at 6. And then a couple more blind sort of entries that are just fast, more decreasing radius into 8.
I was just going to say, you go uphill and you've got that decreasing radius over at turn 8 again. So hard to set up for.
Look at this roller coaster here. As they go ripping around here at 9 into that 10, 11 we talked about, where so many drivers have been struggling and making friends with those Michelin signs on the outside. Easy to do. Another downhill, another short uphill as they head down towards this turn 14 after this hairpin at 13. And this is that off camber hairpin here at 14. Look at it side by side. Fredericks on the inside. Squirk, that outside line so loose. She's not able to hang on to it. She's going to lose that position to Fredericks.
Let's take a look at that from overhead, Larry, as they were coming out of, I guess, coming out of 14 and going into the final corners here.
Well set up here
13.
for Fredericks. Yeah, he stays outside while Squirk, a little contact there, but Squirk kind of gets pinched and picked by the GT3 in front and then unable to get on the binders to make this hairpin, essentially a long hairpin here at 14, gives a great opportunity there for Dalton Fredericks to take that position now, 4th position, about 7 seconds back from Hudek for 3rd.
Oh, a little bit of a tap onto the rear, and given the headlights there as well to Michael Brooks in the wrong stuff Mercedes. All right, a little further back, Travis Schwenke and his Orion McLaren, Ilya Speaker in Mustang, in the Rockefeller Racing Mustang here, the 86 car. Currently the battle for 11th in Pro.
More traffic to contend with.
Yeah, and Larry, I'd imagine that given all of these blind corners and how some of these corners drop away right after the apex, that when you have some of these prototype cars that are coming up on you, and that in-car shot that we just had from Schwenke was, I think, pretty impressive. That you just, other than having your relative screen, sometimes you're just not going to see some of these faster prototype cars until they're pretty much right beside you.
Yeah, you got to really be a hawk on that relative to be able to know that they're coming, because visibility with this much traffic anyway, visibility is going to be tough, certainly the way these corners float and flow. As on board here with Travis Schwenke trying to keep up with Ilya Speaker, trying to make a move into 1. Speaker goes to defend as they head down the hill to the braking zone as a prototype from the inside. Is that Hudek, I think, just went down the inside, taking away any opportunity for Schwenke to get around Speaker as they head now to the hairpin at 3. It's a good little battle, really showing you how tough it is to make a pass around here.
Yeah, and it looked like Schwenke wanted to perhaps go a little late into the braking zone, try to come underneath Speaker there, and just could not get it done.
No, it's tough. You got to have
holding him out there.
Yeah, you got to have such a great run off of 14, which starts all the way with that off-camber turnaround way at the top of the hill, and then you got to come down that turn 15, that crazy off-camber, and get the run down the front straightaway. If you don't set it up all the way at the back, you'll never make the pass all the way at the end in turn 1. Couple teammates here. Rick Segrini and Reciputo now 5th and 6th, trying to catch up with that front pack. They're doing it quite well to get there. They're a couple seconds back.
Yeah, though they've got about 3 seconds up to Mike Dam in his BMW. See just now as Dam's going down to turn 1, almost the length of the entire front straight.
Yeah, I suspect here these teammates are not going to really slow each other down. Probably going to stay in this order for quite a while, at least till we get to our pit stops in probably another 20, 25 minutes or so. See if they can do some work here, maybe use some traffic when it comes through. Hopefully those prototypes can be a problem for Mike Dam or Copeland or Jagoda up in front and give these two teammates a chance to catch them.
All right, so for the GT3 cars, Larry, the pit window should be opening up in about 3 laps or thereabouts. Still quite a while for our GTP, or pardon me, at least for our LMP2 racers. GTP racers, 2 laps should see the opening of the window.
And some of that may depend also on where traffic is. We've seen already traffic is a huge part of tonight's race. If you're in one of the prototypes and you see a pack of GT3s in front of you, you might just go ahead and pit as soon as your window's open. Or if you keep your clear track, perhaps you stay out there a little longer. You might even do some of that in the GT3s if you're either approaching the back of the GT3 pack or even see some of that relatives of those prototypes coming up. Whatever it takes to get that little bit of an advantage, you're going to want to take it in a track like this tonight.
Right, speaking about wanting an advantage there, Mike Dam challenging Michael Brooks now for the last podium position here in GT3 Pro. As they complete lap number 13, starting lap 14, heading down into turn 1. Dam looks like he's taking a look to the inside there for a moment. Not quite close enough, Larry, as he's going to slot in back behind, although he gets a great run out of 1.
He does. He is going to take this position to try and go around the outside. I don't think there's much to go here. He's really just trying to keep the momentum going for Brooks. He wants to make sure that Brooks can keep the momentum, try to catch up to Brooks' teammate Ken Copeland up there in that second spot. That's really where the fight's at, is these two. They both would like to catch up, make this a 4-car race at the front. But some defensive lines already for Michael Brooks.
Yeah.
He's not taking any chances with Mike Dam. At this stage of the race, though, he's probably right, because we've talked about how difficult this place is to pass. You don't want to give up a position knowing how hard it will be to get it back.
Get it back, yeah.
Yeah, this isn't Sebring. We were a couple weeks ago where you could pass at the end of the front straight, end of the back straight, a couple other places too, going into 7 or 10. Certainly, you don't have those many places around here to do that kind of moves. That's one of our prototypes. Wants to make their way through. That's not just any, that is the Bobby Childs. Beautiful shiny livery on Bobby's car tonight. Being patient here as he's going between these two. He's interrupting them a little bit, but he's trying not to interrupt them too much.
You know, all the while Carlos Pereiro made up a lot of ground there, I think. Well, actually,
yeah, Pereiro is lucky. He kind of caught these two cars on the front straight, as opposed to Bobby kind of caught him in between that turn 9, 10, 11. Had to kind of wait it all out.
All right, let's check in with our GTP leader, Larry, Daniel Molino, who's opened up now almost about 9 seconds on the rest of the field.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so early on, only 15 laps complete for what is likely going to be almost a 50-lap race, probably 48-lap race. And there you go. Take a look at that, is how much he's opening up each and every lap there. Almost 9 tenths, half a second.
Molina came into tonight third in the championship, but he did win the opening round at Road Atlanta. And just didn't have good luck at either Hockenheim Ring or even, of course, 2 weeks ago in the rain at Sebring. So maybe this is more his speed, his pace. Maybe he was just sort of mired in some bad luck between the opening round and tonight.
All right, let's check in. Aaron Sunday, Andre Wedderburn. Wedderburn coming off, of course, his sports car series race at Indianapolis, where he sent the car flying backwards about 3,000 feet.
Well, Sunday there, way later on the brakes than Wedderburn, which actually I'm not that surprised. These Porsches are well known for their wonderful brakes, but he's not able to keep that going all the way down to the hairpin at 3. But I think he knows he can do it if he gets there the next time. Maybe just carry a little bit more speed and beat him to the apex at 3, try and win that position. But for right now, Wedderburn's still ahead as we go now on board with Sunday. As he goes around another one of our hairpins, makes these digs into yet another hairpin. And the Porsche should do these very well. And there you can see the Mustang for Wedderburn running a little wide, but he's got the track position on the inside.
Yeah, but he just can't, Sunday just can't seem to dig out of those corners here. So let's take a look as they come into the final corner down the hill. As Molina works his way past as they come onto the front straight.
Well, let's see what kind of run this time Sunday can get. He's in that draft. The Mustang does punch a pretty big hole in the air, but I don't know if it's going to be enough. We did see Sunday outbreak Wedderburn the last time into this position, so he knows that he can at least wait even if he's still behind. But look at that, a little bit more carrying speed. Floats it through a little bit more for Wedderburn than for Sunday. I suspect Sunday just isn't confident yet to be able to carry that kind of speed, but give him a couple laps behind Wedderburn. He might pick up some spots where he can go quicker.
All right, let's move over to LMP2, Larry, and this is the battle for the lead as Kevin McPherson, who worked his way clear of teammate Caleb Lehman, now challenging Alex Crow, who jumped out to a very early lead and had originally opened up maybe 2.5 seconds on the duo of McPherson and Lehman. McPherson now, he's right there with him.
Yeah, we were wondering if those two teammates, McPherson and Lehman, were going to make the push. They didn't fight with each other. They did the right thing, stayed on track to try and catch Alex Crow, and that's exactly what McPherson's done. And if you look at the background there, Lehman's not that far back either. He's got a little bit of traffic to deal with. He's about 3-4 seconds now behind McPherson, but this could easily turn into a 3-car race. And also, there's a Bubba Let's Go's only another second or so behind Caleb Lehman. So I wouldn't be surprised by the time we get to the halfway point, we've got 4 LMP2 cars fighting for the lead. Bubba Let's Go's right now actually might be the quickest car on the track. At least in this class.
All right, Larry, getting word now that the 72 machine, Jordan Butler, being assigned both a drive-through penalty as well as a time penalty post-race. And I believe that may have been for contact. I'm fairly certain I heard that it was with the 151 car of Wedderburn. I don't know if that's... yeah.
And we may have a replay on this one. We'll see. Wedderburn, of course, in a GT3. And then, of course, the Butler being in one of our prototypes is probably why the penalty goes to the prototype. Here it comes.
Yep.
Yeah, that's a bit of an aggressive move there for Butler to kind of nosedive in there. Wedderburn did not ask for that, and unfortunately for him, he's got a little bit of recovery. And he was in that good battle there with Aaron Sunday, so
yeah,
that may have just taken him out of that fight too.
I think that incident, Larry, may have been before the battle with Aaron Sunday, because I think that is actually still going on.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Bobby Childs now taking a look to the outside of Carlos Barrero.
Barrero, I think, is the one that's been on the charge here, trying to make his move around Bobby. Bobby playing defensive here to hold the line against the Speed Labs car. As, you know, we talked about how tough this place is to pass. Bobby's going to put on the clinic now, or he's going to have to find the clinic to put on to try and keep Carlos behind him.
And of course, Carlos in the chat before the race ever started, lamenting that maybe he didn't know his way around. Well, now we'll see if he's a faster learn than Bobby Childs.
Well, he's side by side. This next corner is another left-hander, though. Advantage to Bobby. Bobby's still working it. Oh, that's deep on the brakes. That may still work, though, as they come around. I think is that 10? I think it was.
Yeah, that's coming
11,
out. That's coming out of turn 10 as they come right down the hill now.
Down into the turn. Yeah, the hairpin here at 13.
Right at 13.
Look at the defensive lines, though, for Bobby. He's got to get a good run off of 14 through 15, or he'll be giving up this position. May not have a choice in Barrero. He might just have found the speed he needs on this corner.
They drop down onto the front straight, immediately rise back up, and Bobby Childs heads to the pit lane.
Yeah.
Couldn't take the heat, Larry.
Decided it was, instead of playing defense, just go ahead and take the pit stop now.
As we check back in with Brian Bennett in the number 71 Sector 5 McLaren, challenging Ethan Bass in the Orbit Drop Bear Mustang. Along
These guys,
with Tyler
you would
King.
think, You would expect these guys to be fighting for the lead, but that's how deep this talent is in this field tonight. We saw Bennett was up there in the front 2 rows at the start, fell back. Now he's struggling to get around some talented drivers like King and Bass, and then if he can get up to the Rick Segrini and Rick Saputo battle. But this 3-way battle looks pretty tough as it is. There's your GT3 leader who has company. Ken Copeland did the hard work. Now he's caught up to Leo Dragota, and the fight is on. Wasn't the last time we were here? Wasn't it Copeland the other way around? Maybe ahead of Dam or somebody? I had forgotten who the order was, but
yes,
Copeland,
yes.
I believe, just a
defense
marvelous
of his life. Yeah.
20 minutes of just perfect car position. It was a beautiful thing to watch.
At that point, but yeah.
Yeah. And now, of course, he's got to figure out, well, I know how to defend around here. Can I offend around here and try to make this pass on Dragota? You and I really good at
more
offending.
than you or I?
You or I are wonderful offenders.
That's right.
The English language, good judgment. We offend a lot of things.
For a variety of reasons.
Now, with these two battling, this could help then Copeland's teammate Michael Brooks, who's just under 4 seconds, with, of course, Mike Dam in tow. That's how this quickly turns into a 4-way with a couple of wrong stuffs and a couple of Orions, should Copeland and Dragota slow up and wait for Brooks and Dam.
And already, see, there is
that defensive line.
Leo getting very defensive going down
This
into
is
turn
it.
1.
Look at this,
Leo's
side by
gonna drive
side,
all the way
Copeland.
out.
Copeland's going to force the issue. Dragota's got the inside, though, but if they come up the hill,
Now
this
the
is going to be
track's going
advantage
to
the
go
inside.
back to the left, exactly, and that's going to give
There you
Ken
go.
Copeland the lead.
And it slowed him down about a second, so Brooks and Dam inching closer. Let's see if Dragota recognizes the big picture here and stays in line for a couple of laps before their pits, or if he continues to fight and push. Meanwhile, they came up on one of the HDK cars. I don't know if that's it's not Guidry, because Guidry's in the pits.
All right, well, Larry, let's do this. We're going to have to suspend our thoughts here on whether or not Copeland and Dragota can get in line and maybe open that gap up to Michael Brooks and Mike Dam for at least a little bit, because we're going to take a little break, thanks to some of our partners and sponsors. When we come back, hopefully we're going to get more of our pit sequence here, and we're going to take our viewers all the way to the checkered flag here at Portimao, where you're watching round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge. Stay with us.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name-brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org. The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go. Ricmotech.com.
Welcome back to Portimao. It's round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge. I'm Greg Ginsburg. He's Larry Lefty McLeod. And Larry, you know, right before we went to break, we were watching this great battle between Carlos Barrero and Bobby Childs, and we saw Bobby take to the pit lane, and I thought I saw a whole bunch of smoke in the air.
Yeah, he took that pit lane all right. He took it all the way home, and let's see exactly how it happened as he goes into the pits and loses the back end, hits the walls, backs all the way up, and damages the car. And according to Bobby in the chat even, the team's refusing to fix the car.
Yeah, there has been a D2D crew rebellion, Larry, not seen since 2007 when the McLaren crew did not want to work on Fernando Alonso's machine.
He comes in the pit. Here it is. Locks up that rear. So it sounds like in the chat he's saying that the system, iRacing, wants him to serve his pit road speed penalty before performing the repairs. Well, it's sort of like chicken or egg, because I can't leave the pits because I got repairs. So he may be stuck there for a while. We'll check in with him. Meanwhile,
we'll check in with Bobby.
Daniel Molina continues to lead this race. It's his teammate, though, Fernando Takahashi, that struggled. We had seen him running second very strong for a good part of this race. He took to the pits and apparently had some struggles afterward. I don't know if we've got that replay queued up, but Fernando also had some issues on his subsequent lap. So
and Larry, big changes here in GT, in LMP2.
Here's the replay of Fernando real quick.
Yeah,
as we see him.
Take a look here.
There goes the back end, can't quite hang on to it, and he does introduce himself to the guardrail.
Yep. Cold tires coming out of the pits. So big changes in LMP2 is Kevin McPherson has just been assigned, I believe, a 30-second penalty for contact with the 03 car. And the 03, that is
Nick Reciputo.
Nick Reciputo's Mercedes. Yes.
Yeah. So Reciputo, of course, was right there with his teammates, Rick Segrini, when they were just nose to tail trying to chase down the leaders in GT3 Pro. So, wow, that's a big change there for that. And there is McPherson. Let's see what that replay of this incident looks like as we are on board with Reciputo.
And here comes the SRT eSport machine.
Oh, who just spun in front of him. That's what it was.
Yeah.
Kind of impeding the path there is what happened. He lost control of his own car going into that tight right-hander.
And was that Alex Crow in the 990 machine just ahead?
May have been. Meanwhile, let's check with your...
that might have been at the time your LMP2 leader, and Crow now falling back to last place, 7th place in LMP2 and continuing to drop down the order. And yeah, I think Alex Crow might have been the one involved in that incident with the McPherson machine.
Yes, so we're gonna keep an eye on that. Here's the replay. There is Crow, who again was leading in the LMP2 field, spun on his own. That's unusual. I wonder if he's having some sim issues tonight. As he's down pit lane, let's see. Comes back out.
Oof.
And the car just slid. I don't know what's happening to Alex. That's a rough way to lose what was really his race. His
race
control.
to lose, yeah.
Meanwhile, we've had some pit stops here. Dalton Fredericks in and out. We, of course, had your overall GT3 leader, Ken Copeland, take his stop. A very slow one. I don't know if he was also involved in an incident because he's just leaving the pits now after being in for more than a minute. There's a lot going on right now. If we can even keep up, I'm hearing a penalty on Hudek in the GTP car.
for incident responsibility with I believe, a 20-second post-race penalty, and that was for contact with the 39 machine, Larry. Or was it the 339? I think it might have been possibly the 339 of Brian Coxon.
Maybe.
Yep.
Wow. So we're still trying to figure out where everybody's at. Oh, we know that Daniel Molina continues to overall lead this race, 10 seconds on Hudak, but if Hudak's got a penalty coming, that could change things there as we continue to see another replay. This, of course, is Schwenkler and his GTP coming out of the pits. And then looks a lot like the last that we had seen on that LMP2 at Crow. We do know these prototype cold tires are exceedingly cold. And remember, at the start of the race, they have a whole lap of warm-up. There's no warm-up. It's pull to the pits and go, and on cold tires, that turn one is slippery.
And so that really, I was going to say, so Molina still your leader in GTP, but Hudak now, Larry, with that penalty, that post-race penalty, and he's got, I think, he's got about 13 seconds right now on square. That would not be enough to hold on to second position in GTP, and I think probably the biggest change here we'll see is Bob Baletskos, comes down the pit lane from the lead, leaving Justin Barrera as our sole racer in LMP2 that has not pitted in yet. That may leave, well, we'll have to see. That I think that will likely, when pit cycles are done, move Kevin McPherson back up to the lead.
Good, yeah.
But he's got that post-race penalty coming to him as well.
Keep your eye on Babaletskos when he comes out of the pits. He may be the other one that's potentially in this as well. It's going to be a bit of mayhem here. I'm still trying to figure out what happened to Ken Copeland because we know that he's had some issues. He was at the pits a long time. Then now you've got the race lead in GT3 Pro still belonging to Leo Dragota, with Dam and Brooks in third and second slowly closing in. But I do wonder what happened to Copeland, if we're going to see him again or not.
Copeland now sitting down in 12th position.
Yeah.
And suddenly, Larry, although admittedly I think they are, almost, if we look over GT3 Pro, almost 15 seconds back, but Tyler King and Ethan Bass currently running 4th and 5th now. The last time we checked in on them, they were running, I think, like 8th and 9th.
Yeah. All right, so there's Tyler King right there in that battle with Bass and Bennett. But we just seen Babaletskos come out of the pits. He's out right in front of McPherson and Lehman. Those two SRT Esports teammates now making the pass, I think, on Babaletskos. So it's going to be a tough race there in LMP2, depending on when the pit does happen for Barrera. But meanwhile, there's just battles all over the place with all this chaos and mayhem that's been going on as we watch this little bit of battle here with King and the others. As your leader in LMP2, Justin Barrera, has found pit in.
All right, and with many of those LMP2 cars, Larry, taking about a minute 3 to a minute 4, looks as though we'll likely have McPherson retake the lead on track.
Ethan Bass coming in to take his pits, leaving that battle behind with King and Bennett. There is Brooks still with a rearview mirror that looks a lot like Mike Dam. He's pretty much looked that way. This is about the second lap of this race. Has not changed at all.
2.
At this point, Michael Brooks doesn't even need to look in his mirror. He knows what it's that BMW with the Orion livery just staring him down at the orange trim. As right now they're right behind. Let's see who that is in front of them. That's Chester Guidry, I believe, in HTPK number 1.
Yeah.
Guidry running in 4th in GT3 AM. Waiting for the others to take their pit stops, including Aaron Sunday, Stephen May, and Adam Cohen. Well, in LMP2, Babaletskos may have come out of the pits in front of McPherson and Lehman. He is no longer with them as he's 9 seconds back. McPherson has taken the lead there ahead of teammate Caleb Lehman. And Jordan Butler in 4th, and then we had seen Justin Barrera. He took his pits, and he comes back out in 6th.
All right, Leo Dragota and Michael Brooks now pitting in from 1st and 2nd in Pro.
Brooks finally didn't want to have Mike Dam in his mirrors anymore. Mike Dam decides to continue on and take the lead for a lap.
That's it. So that's going to move Mike Dam to the lead. Tyler King into the pits now as well in the 428 Mercedes. Travis Schwenke now as looks like right towards the end of the GT3 pit window, Larry. We've got the heavy hitters all coming in. We saw the pit window maybe extending out to lap 28. So racers coming in about a lap early. As Leo Dragota first to leave the pit box, and Michael Brooks picked up maybe 0.02 of a second on the pit lane as they come out and head back out onto the track, though. Dragota with almost a little bit over 2 seconds now on the wrong.
Yeah, that's
stuff.
about what it was when they came
yep.
in. Was maybe a hair over 2 seconds, so it's going to be hovering in that mark. Depends on who does better on these out laps.
Tires.
Yeah, we know Leo's usually pretty good in this scenario. We'll see if Brooks can maintain pace, and then we'll have to see where does Mike Dam come in. And where does he come back out when he does finally? I got to figure maybe he'll get one more lap. But if he was behind Brooks for so long, I got a feeling Mike Dam's going to make a quick work out of this pit stop, having potentially saved some fuel. Aaron Sunday in the pits. He had been in the lead in the M category.
All right, let's take a look, Larry. Carlos Barrero now taking a look to the inside on Ken Copeland. And I thought I might have seen some contact there right about the apex.
There was, yeah.
As Carlos
Copeland
Barrero
got
now
lucky.
heads into the grass.
Yeah, Copeland lucky that there wasn't any kind of spin coming towards him. Looks like Barrera's able to keep that thing all to himself. Meanwhile, Aaron Sunday comes back out. He's going to stay in 3rd.
All right, Dam now leaving the pits. Brian Bennett still on the pit lane.
Well, where does Dam come out relative to teammate Leo Dragota? They were 2 seconds between them when Dam was last
Here
seen
comes
behind
Dragota
him.
onto the front straight now, trying to catch a draft off of one of the LMP2 Dolores.
Pit lane speed limit is just so long, but I think he might have done it. Look at that. Mike Dam with the pit stop of all pit stops. The Orion team saving the best for last for Mike Dam. And now he's going to have himself just ahead of teammate Leo Dragota. But Dragota's got a head of steam. And that might be what he needs as they come now up the hill at turn 4, right behind one of the DNA entries. I believe that's Butler. Dam's going to get defensive. Dragota is going to get youthful and exuberant. He's going to try and go around the outside. Look at Dam going to play defensive. Try and hold this line, but I think the warmer tires for Dragota
ahead of him.
Yeah, Dragota I think is going to have the inside line as they come around here through 7 and 8, and that's going to put Dragota right back up in front. But the key is also they are clear of Michael Brooks. Brooks about 3 seconds back from Dragota and Dam. As Dam continues to try to warm those tires. Well, race leader Molina. Oh, that's not Molina. That is Takahashi going down the inside. Yeah. Same livery, wrong number. All this traffic. Mike Dam is already starting to lose Leo Dragota. Dragota making everyone else wait for him, including Dalton Fredericks and Fernando Takahashi. They are battling for 5th, and they want nothing to do with your leader in GT or your assumed leader in GT3 Pro.
Oh no! Big snap.
That's
Dalton
a snap
Fredericks.
spin. Did he get the wall?
And,
I think he did.
yeah, I think he might have gotten to the wall, indeed, Larry. So
Not
Dalton
hard.
Fredericks, and you saw that coming on early. The rear end started to step out on him, and he just went to dial in a little bit of correction, and he snapped the other way. Let's watch.
Oh, he may have had some help right at the entry there. I don't know. He looks clean. All of a sudden, it just went. Wow.
It's Larry. It's much more apparent if you take the trailing shot and watch the rear of what the rear end of that car did, and you can
Wow, yeah, you can see him counter steering to the left
Yeah.
a little bit, coming around that sweeper, waiting for the pavement to start to climb and catch the card. It just didn't get there in time, and the back end said no, and off it went. Oh, that's rough. Fredericks was having a good race there. Takahashi, though, that's good for him. He's able to pick up that position, move into the 5th spot. A couple of cars in front of him still yet to stop, so we'll see how that plays out. With Chester Guidry back into the lead in the AM category, now on the heels of Brian Bennett, who's just had a bit of a struggle tonight. Ever since the opening bell, so to speak, everything has not gone Brian Bennett's way.
All right, the number 10 machine now getting just a drive-through penalty, Larry, and that is the 10. Is that the LMP2 car of Vasconcelos? Yes, Vasconcelos getting a drive-through penalty, contact with the 83 of Michael Brooks. Now, Brooks is still running in 3rd position.
Yeah, that's not going to be good there for Brooks or for the Wrong Stuff team, but luckily for Brooks, he's going to be able to stay in this. You can see there on the ticker, Brooks still just 2 seconds back from Dam, who's 2 seconds back from Jagoda. And Jordan Ricksagrini just 4 or 5 seconds back from Brooks. So a little bit of traffic plays wrong for any of them, and we're going to have fights on our hands for some of those positions. And there is Michael Brooks in that Mercedes. Trying to get around Brockway, I believe that is, in the Frito Sport.
Yeah, Brockway's in the purple, Frito Sport Acura, and John Casey in the blue, as Stephen Hudek now on the pit lane. Michelle Squarick pitting in, as is Jake Zito. So of our top 4 racers in GTP, our leader, Daniel Molina, the last to come down the pit lane. He's out there running now lap number 34.
Yeah, Molina being patient here, as he should. We need to try and force the issue around the Rockefeller Mustang that he's chasing through that final corner, where we just saw Fredericks have that moment.
And
there
here
is
he
the
comes,
pits.
Molina onto the pit lane. So we'll have to see now, as Hudek is about a minute 9, I think. Back, actually, yeah.
I think they were somewhere in that 10-second range or so when they each started their stops, and Steven started his. Hudek's pit stop pretty short, but I suspect so will Molina's here with only 20 minutes left in the race. You don't need to take a whole lot of fuel to make it 20 minutes.
Yeah, so Hudek was
But
oh, look at this. Michelle
Again,
Squarick goes around.
Tire on the prototypes, continuing to bite. This time it's Michelle Squarick struggling. She was hoping to hang on to that 3rd spot to go with her couple of second-place finishes earlier. This is not how you started out on the after the pit stop. She comes up here through that turn 4. Turn 3,
Larry,
I should say.
it looked like, at least through the first couple corners, she was taking it pretty slowly, trying to get those tires up, and it still just did not help. And that moves Fernando Takahashi now up in the 3rd position.
And puts Squarick under fire from Jake Zito for the 4th position. There is Takahashi, of course, Molina's teammate. As Bobby points out, Takahashi, of course, driving that BMW with the big giant nostrils, and Molina in one of the Porsches, much sleeker looking nose on the Porsche. I guess if it's a BMW, it's technically their kidneys, I guess. Are they just large, unusually shaped kidneys?
Yes. That's what their kidneys look like, Larry. I'd hate to see what his liver looks like. Anyway.
Wait, Bobby's or Fernando Takahashi's? Who are we talking about?
A little bit of both.
All right, this is the battle for second place. GT3 AM is Chase West, Aaron Sunday, battling it out for that number 2 position. They're about 15 seconds back from Chester Guidry, the leader in AM, but that doesn't mean this fight can't be just as good, as it does look pretty strong. Sunday earlier had a pretty good battle going on. I believe it was with Wedderburn, who's now in the 4th spot, but now he's going to be fighting with West. Now, we have not looked at point standings tonight. Might not be a bad chance to look at the AMs.
Well, Larry,
they're all here.
We could do that. Yeah, absolutely. Let's go and take a look. And of course, we talked about Chester Guidry taking the win at Sebring with Stephen May and Chase West rounding out your top 3. And West, now, as we've started after round number 3, starting to take drops into account. West with 12 points now on Chester Guidry from HTPK. Aaron Sundays, you can see they're third with Dan Carrizo in DCR Sim Racing Machine. Only a single point back from there. Neil Weston, just another 5 points back. But only, 22 points separating the top 5 drivers. Still pretty darn close as we are coming up here. When we hit the checkered flag, we'll be midway through this 8-race season. Why don't we take a look at the pros while we're at it as well? And I think we mentioned at Sebring in the wet, Ethan Bass took the win with the teammates of Rick Segrini and Rice Puto, finishing 2nd and 3rd. And Bass has got a 7-point advantage over Jordan Rick Segrini with the Orion pair of Leo Dragotta and Brian Coxon running 3rd and 4th.
Yeah, they might be sitting in the 1st and 2nd position on the standings, but they're currently sitting 4th and 5th on the track. But it's Bass is now in battle with Rick Segrini's teammate, who's currently 5th in the championship, but in that battle with Bass. So you can see these battles definitely playing out, even with the point standings up. They're battling it out of the track because every point's going to matter at the end of this one.
Thank you, Jordy.
Jordy Fike, apparently going to be the latest comedian at Amateur Hour. So, don't forget tip your waitress.
That's right. Try the veal. And the Oreos, for that matter.
Definitely try the Oreos, even if they're even if it's the cheap replacement ones.
Yeah.
Costco Oreos are pretty good too. All right, Carlos Barrero now trying to make his way through some traffic as Reciputo and Bass are in that battle. There is Barrero and his BMW prototype. They're running in 7th in the GTP field. Now, if we flash up a couple of spots here, I think Squirrick might still be in a bit of a battle here.
Squirrick, who is currently sitting in 5th after that spin. Just, she's got now Jake Zito.
Yeah.
I think just ahead. Yeah, there we go.
She was having trouble there when the tires were cold. Now the tires are warm. See if she's got the pace to be able to get around Zito for that 4th spot. Like how you can see the fingers actually grabbing the upshifts on the wheel there, and you can see the nice little detail of iRacing to throw that in there. Although my upshifts, I would be on my left, and my downshifts on my right, something like that. Yes, there's a reason I'm called lefty.
Another crew rebellion.
All right, Zito having a little bit of trouble here, though. Looks like getting around Hosea. That might help Squirrick a little bit, but now Squirrick's got to do the same thing, getting around that Rockefeller Racing Mustang. All right, look at this battle now as Bass trying to hold off for Saputo. He's got some lap traffic in front of him.
Yeah, he's got Greg Brockway. He's accurate directly ahead.
Trying to stay out of the way, and Bass is able to hold the position, but as I think they're going through 14.
14. Yep.
This might be a good opportunity here for Reciputo to make a pass if he can get the run through the draft on the front straightaway. Bass may be picking up his own draft, though.
Off
On
the
the back of
BMW
one of
just
our
ahead.
BMWs
Yeah.
there, yeah. Was that Weston?
I think
Just
I think that's no, it's obviously not Adam Cohen. I think that's Neil Weston.
That is Stephen May, actually, in the number 53. Speaking of Cohen, he may have just been assigned a penalty to car number 11, Adam Cohen, running in the only GT3 Ferrari in the field.
Yeah, and that one where he was for apparently incident responsibility for contact and failure to obey blue flags.
Yes, and it was with the Ethan Bass in, of course, the 219 that we're watching now. Bass really urgently wants to get by all lap traffic, and perhaps Cohen didn't quite comply with blue flags fast enough. Shows how strong the stewards are in this series. They do want to make sure everyone's following flags, paying attention, being aware of their surroundings. It really does help make the racing that much better when the stewards are on top of that.
Oh, Larry, look at this. It is the SRT teammates. It's Kevin McPherson and Caleb Lehman battle for the lead in LMP2. They've got about 5 seconds on Bobby Boboletsko, so it appears it may be these two all the way to the checkered flag here, as we now have about 12 minutes remaining.
Of course, Lehman won at the Hockenheim about a month ago. That's his only win of the season. Didn't even run in the rain at Sebring a couple weeks ago. McPherson's got his highest finish this season has been a second place at Sebring, so he's looking to try and get his first victory, and it's going to have to be by defending on his teammate, Caleb Lehman, if he wants to try and grab that inaugural top of the step of the podium.
And Larry, did we take a look at the point standings in LMP2?
I don't think we've covered the prototypes yet. Let's bring them up, should we?
Yeah, let's bring them on up here. Of course, Justin Barrera did take the win last week at Sebring, with McPherson finishing second, Jordan Griffin for Purple Sector finishing third, and it is currently Justin Barrera, your leader here going into round number 4, with Alex Crowe second and Kevin McPherson running third in the championship. And Barrera in that Metamorphosis car with a heck of an advantage right now. Again, we are just now starting to take those drops into account, but just a little bit less than 20 points, with 17 points separating them. Kevin McPherson, another 12 points back from there, tied with Jordan Griffin.
I don't
Bobby
think these standings are with drops quite yet. Might see that next time. So if somebody only has 2 events in, I think they're only showing the 3 event ones of the ones with max points. But we should see that probably in 2 weeks when we get to our next round in Mexico City. But look at this now, as McPherson's going to have to try not only to stay defensive, but he's got to work through traffic, and he's got another one of the Fruto Sport entries. That's Cohen, who just was given a penalty for not obeying blue flags. I bet he's seeing more of those now and knows what to do. And look at that, he stays out of the way.
It stayed right on the curbing.
Takahashi's the third car in this train. He's going to want to get by all of them in his GTP prototype, as well as not interrupt the LMP2 battle between the SRT eSport drivers in front of him.
Yeah, Takahashi's in a good spot right now, Larry, that he can take his time. He's back about 35 seconds from Stephen Hudak. He's got about 16, 17 seconds on Jake Zidow, and here it looks like he's
got the straight line speed enough to get through one of them. This is what I was talking earlier about the different prototype speeds. Once they get to the slow parts, the LMP2s are in fact faster in and out of the corner than the big GTPs, and you can see it there. Once they had to go to the brakes, Fernando had to brake before he actually got all the way to McPherson. McPherson can brake later. Now they've got a place to open up and stretch his legs. Still not enough for Takahashi to get past McPherson. This is the struggles of the GTP. They are not faster in this part of the track.
Yeah, and you can see there how much Lehman made up under braking. And it looks like McPherson pulls over, just willing Takahashi
right
by.
Here, but you get to this point, now he's going to be right all over the back of Takahashi, because this is where the LMP2s are actually faster. He's just hoping that Takahashi can stretch the legs beyond the exit of the corner before they get to the next one, and maybe have a chance to be out of his way to not hold up McPherson trying to hold off Lehman. We talked about what this race was like in July, where it came down to track position. A couple of battles, particularly the GT3 battle, came right down to whoever was in the lead was able to hold on to it despite bad tires and everything else. Let's see if McPherson can do the same here, but he's going to run a little wide. That's going to allow Lehman to come up the inside. They may be side by side through 15. Oh, bad run for McPherson is going to cost him. Wow. There's the mistake.
Yeah, can't blame that on Takahashi, as McPherson just ran so wide coming out of the hairpin at 14.
Yeah, that turn 14 is so difficult in pretty much anything. But if you don't get that turn in right, you just wash out, and now you're off camber, and you'll never be able to bring it back. Now that the roles are reversed with Caleb Lehman now leading LMP2, can McPherson do anything about it? But how far back is Babaletskos in third? Because I think I see him.
I was going to say, there he is.
We have a race three-way.
So, and remember, Larry, I think that McPherson has a post-race time penalty coming to him. With Babaletskos there, I think he's in a very good spot currently. It would he was probably wishing that that McPherson was still leading the race and that he was right up behind Caleb Lehman. But
yes, actually, he does. McPherson's got a 30-second post-race penalty coming his way. That is a huge penalty in this scenario. 30 seconds would put him not only behind Babaletskos, but also behind Butler, and put McPherson back in fourth.
Yeah, but all the while now, Bobby Babaletskos has to find a way to get past McPherson to get up to Lehman to challenge for the lead.
Well, this is where McPherson can do his teammates some real good here. Even though he's going to take a penalty, McPherson can make it difficult for Babaletskos, not give him a chance to catch Lehman, knowing that Babaletskos is likely to get the position anyway in the penalty. But here we go. This is Ken Copeland trying to pick up some spots here late in the race, getting around Travis Schwenke.
Schwenke. I think that was actually the other Orion McLaren. I think that was Brian Coxon.
Oh, you're right. Yes,
Larry, that he just got around.
You're right. I saw the Orion, and Schwenke's green is a little different green, I think, than Coxon's. This is more of an aqua color. I have double check. Yes, they're both in McLarens, because the Orion team are all driving different cars now between BMWs, Mercedes, McLarens. More traffic, though, for your leader here.
Yeah. Jonathan, if we could jump over to, I think Takahashi and Squarick are, at least last time I looked.
Squarick and Zito?
Yeah. Yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we saw Squarick get by Zito a number of laps ago, but Jake hasn't gone anywhere. He's going to try and stick right with Michelle. They continue to fight for that fourth spot. There's really no chance at this point to catch Takahashi, Hudek, or Molina for the top three, but this battle for fourth is pretty strong. With what, 5 minutes to go? Meanwhile, also the lead for GT3 Pro is being contested. That is Mike Dam catching the back of teammate Leo Dragota. Let's see how this could work. We saw Dam struggle right after the pits, lost the position to Dragota, but he's been able to claw him back in. Now with 5 minutes to go, can Leo defend?
Larry, they've got almost an 8-second gap back to Michael Brooks. Sitting back in third, so they've got time to work this out without bringing that third car in, and with less than 5 minutes on the clock. I don't know if Michael Brooks would have enough time to make up that 8-second gap, even if Dam went side by side with Dragota here for the next lap and a half.
Yeah, so the fight can be on between Dam and Dragota. They know that one of the two of them should win this thing as long as they don't take each other out, and it's usually pretty good racing between them should they go. Let's see if Dam decides to dispatch with the pleasantries that Canadians are so well known for and decide to put the fight right to the back of Dragota.
All right, back to that battle for second here.
Which we're pretty sure that Babaletskos should end up in second, despite how these two could end up. But Babaletskos has his eyes on Lehman, but with 4 minutes to go, Lehman just has to have his teammate do some dirty work here and keeping Babaletskos back in third.
All right, let's jump back over to this fight over in GT3 for the pro lead, as both Dragoda and Dam coming up on some slower traffic. I think that is Aaron Sunday in the 331 Porsche as Sunday moves out of the way.
Dragoda's got a little bit of breathing room now, but it's not a lot. I'll tell you, that BMW looks pretty good through these hairpins. The way that thing just, I don't know if it's a wheelbase difference or what, but that car seems to really enjoy the starts and stops a little bit more than any of the other GT3 cars. But in a straight line, I probably would rather be in a Mercedes. Actually, probably in the Ford in a straight line if I had to pick, but I'd have to drive the Ford and the rest of the track.
Oh
no.
Larry,
what is this?
Bobby Babaletskos and Kevin McPherson
And
get
Wedderburn.
together.
And that was Wedderburn right in front of them. We're 2 minutes away from this thing. There's already going to be a penalty on McPherson. Babaletskos doesn't need one. Let's see what happens here as they come up on. Is that Ricmotech?
Number, if that's Segrini or if that's
and then Wedderburn just forcing his way through. That's beautiful.
Through. Oh my.
Yeah, that might have been Ricmotech. I'm not sure.
I think that
One
was
of
the
those
0-3 or Ricmotech, yeah.
Wow. Well, they were able to get going again as we see this. So they were able to continue. One more replay of it. As that looks pretty aggressive there.
Yeah.
For Babaletskos.
Babaletskos
Probably
came from downtown.
misjudged. And Wedderburn saying, guys, I'm bringing my Mustang through like a cars and coffee. Look out.
Oh my, is I believe Daniel Molina now working his last lap. We'll jump back to this fight. Well, we were going to jump back to the fight between Zito and Squarick, as Squarick had gone off track a lap ago, Larry, and had fallen about a half second back. He's closed things back up on Michelle Squarick now. And there's the pair of McPherson and Babaletskos directly behind him. Everything's here happening on the last lap as Mike Dam closes things down on, as
this is going to be close.
Dragoda pops over the curb, it goes wide coming out of one.
Well, Dam may have saved something for this last lap shootout here. He tried it all through 3, didn't make it stick, but now look at the defensive. This is the most defensive line I've seen anybody take going into the hairpin here at the bottom of the hill. Dam not taking advantage, but look at this. He's going to sneak around the inside as Dragoda outbroke himself. But can he hold the line on the inside? The legs of the Mercedes are going to come in handy here.
All right, as Daniel Molina crosses the line, he'll take the win in GTP, but let's stay with this GT3
Look at this.
pro
I can't
fight.
believe Dragoda is going to come out of this, but he's still on that inside. Dam now is going to get the switch back in his direction as the track goes left just ahead. Dam in the BMW trying to hold just enough legs. And look at that Mercedes doing such a good job of holding that position as now they go up through 10 and 11. Oh,
And that's
Dragoda ahead,
exactly
but
where Dragoda had the advantage early
2
on
more
in this race,
hairpins.
Larry.
Yeah, 2 more hairpins. Again, it's going to be Dam trying to go up and under as they come out of 13. One more
They'll
corner
head
for
up the hill to
Dragoda.
14.
Oh, that was a shutting the door there for Dragoda. I think
And
that might be
it.
enough. I don't think there's
There
enough.
goes Leo Dragoda's
draft.
going to lead Mike Dam out of the final corner onto the front straight. And taking the win in GT3 Pro, Leo Dragota in the 118 Mercedes, his teammate Mike Dam will finish in second.
Wow.
Over in GT3 AM, Chester Guidry takes the win on track, with Chase West finishing second, Aaron Sunday coming home in third, with Stephen May just off the podium. And finally now the rest of the drivers come through in GT3 Pro as Michael Brooks will finish in third, Jordan Rick Sagrini will finish fourth, Ethan Bass will finish in fifth. Over in GTP, of course, we talked about Daniel Molina taking the win in his Porsche, also driving a Porsche 963. Stephen Hudak will finish in second. Fernando Takahashi brings his Mercedes home in third, with Michelle Squarick holding off Jake Cito to take fourth. And finally in LMP2, it is Caleb Lehman taking the win for SRT Esport. Kevin McPherson second on track, but he's got a hefty penalty coming to him. Bobby Babaletskos will finish third on track, with Jordan Butler finishing fourth. But we think, based on the penalty coming to McPherson, it's going to be Babaletskos second, Jordan Butler in third, with McPherson
There are
finishing in
so
fourth.
many penalties to assign post races. You know what? I think Jordan Butler's got his own 30-second penalty coming at the end of this race, so he may be dropped back. Who knows where? We'll just let the stewards sort all that out. But we're going to talk at least to the winners of each of the four classes right after the break.
That's it. All right, Larry. So let's take that break, and we'll be back here in just a few moments from Portimao, where you just seen round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge. Stay with us.
The SCCA Foundation is a 501c3 organization serving as the charitable arm of the Sports Car Club of America. One of the programs partially funded by the foundation is the SCCA Academy, an online learning management system used to keep real-life racing track officials up to date on the highest standards of race safety and officiating. Through this program, the SCCA Foundation is supporting the future of the best-trained corner workers and event officials in motorsport. You can support these efforts at www.sccafoundation.org.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Whether you're just looking to have fun, train for race day, or become a serious esports competitor, Ricmotech has you covered. Hundreds of name brand parts. Support from experts that love sim racing. Trusted by the pros. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
The search is over. The most comprehensive league scoring solution is here, with the ability for multi-level championships, custom incident tracking, post-race time penalties, support for heats, drop weeks display, multi-car team scoring, advanced web widgets, rookie championships, a custom paint system, and load those results in seconds. Visit extremescoring.info today.
Ricmotech high-performance sim racing equipment. Hundreds of name brand parts. Expert support. Ricmotech has you covered. There's only one place to go, Ricmotech.com.
Welcome back to Portimao, where you've just seen round number 4 of the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech World Challenge. I'm Greg Ginsberg. He's Larry Lefty McLeod. And these, ladies and gentlemen, are your winners. In GTP, Daniel Molina for Rosso Esports taking the win. Stephen Hudak finishing second for SRT Esport. Both of our top 2 drivers driving Porsche 963s. And then Fernando Takahashi, that is Daniel Molina's teammate, driving the BMW M Hybrid, finishing in third. Michelle Squarick finishing just off the podium in 4th. Over in LMP2, where all of our racers were behind the wheel of a Dallara, SRT Esport taking 1st and 2nd on track, with Bobby Babaletscos from Majors Esport finishing 3rd. And we're not sure who's going to end up where, Larry, because we did get word that Babaletscos accumulated a time-based penalty for that end of the race contact with Kevin McPherson. Jordan Butler finishing 4th on track. There's a good chance Jordan Butler may finish this race in 2nd place, with Justin Barrera finishing in 5th on track for Metamorphosis. Over in GT3 Pro, Leo Dragotta holds off his teammate Mike Dam, and you know how close it was, Larry, when Mike Dam ran out of fuel on the cooldown lap. Michael Brooks from The Wrong Stuff will come home in 3rd, with Jordan Rick-Sagrini finishing 4th in his Mercedes, and Ethan Bass finishing in 5th. Over in GT3 AM, Chester Guidry from HTPK takes the win in his BMW, and then finishing 2nd, Chase West driving the number 2 machine, Chase in the Lead Paw Racing McLaren. Aaron Sunday will finish in 3rd in his Porsche. And then we've got Stephen May in a BMW and Andre Wedderburn. What an exciting race for Andre, finishing in 5th in the 151 machine. All right, let's take a look and see who we've got sitting in the green room waiting for us, Larry. Why don't we start off? Because this one, I think, I'm fairly positive he didn't pick up a post-race penalty. Let's bring our winner on track, and we think probably winner in the stewards room as well, in LMP2 from SRT Esport, Caleb Lehman.
All right, picking up his 2nd win on the season, and what a battle, Caleb, you had with your teammate, pretty much right up to the end. Awesome win, but tell me a little bit about what it was like to battle your teammate there in this race.
That was a lot more stressful than I thought it was going to be. I went with a lower wing than Kevin. So at the beginning of the race, when it was colder temperatures, he was much faster. But then once the track warmed up, I was faster. And I don't know if the broadcast caught it, but he had a 30-second time penalty for an incident. I think he's going to appeal it. But he let me by, and then unfortunately got a spin with Bobby at the end. So I was able to kind of coast it, because luckily I had some time. I was almost out of fuel. I had to really fuel save that last lap.
Wow. Yeah, it's a strategy right at the end, and hopefully you can make it to the end with the things going on. We did know about the penalty, of course, for Kevin and team, but there's penalties all over the place. Apparently there's penalties about the next 3 drivers behind you. The only thing we're pretty sure of is you don't have any penalties, so I think your victory is going to stand at least. But your 2nd win of the season, and tell you, this field is super tight, really competitive. Tell me about it, what it's like with this whole group, how it's just so chaotic at times, but so much speed top to bottom.
Yeah, it's really, really tight. I've raced against Alex for years, and Justin has come around, and he's really quick. He was a little bit off pace today, and then I guess Alex had a spin coming out of the pits, so I just was able to keep it clean, and it all worked out.
Yeah, it's really tough to do tonight. We noticed that everybody, especially the prototypes, had trouble if there was a tire change at the pit stop. Is that just the tire model in this track, how it just doesn't want to grab on the cold tire first corner?
Yeah, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was aero-based, setup-based, but this track on the cold tires was really tricky. So just kind of had to tiptoe around for those first 2 to 3 laps, and then once it warmed up, you kind of push a little bit.
Yeah, well, you managed to make it all work tonight to get another victory here for you and the team. But I know you've got a big team that works with you, and some friends and family probably also want to give a shout out to.
Yeah, definitely. Again, first and foremost, my wife, Rachel, she's actually watching tonight, so shout out to her for supporting me. And my teammates at SRT, we push each other week in, week out, like I've said. Kevin was super quick. I think that he actually deserved the win. Had he not had that penalty. And then Steven had a good result in GTP. Jake had a little bit of issues, but overall, strong result for the team. I think we're pretty far out in the lead right now. And then our setup maker, John Pat, he knocked it out of the park again. So really, really love the team and happy to be at the race. And thank you to you guys for the broadcast.
Yeah, Yeah, it was awesome showing tonight for the whole team, but especially for you getting the victory here tonight in the LMP2 class. Caleb Lehman from SRT Esports. Congratulations.
Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
All right, thanks so much, Caleb. If I can get him out of here. Sorry, Caleb. I'm not trying to get rid of you, but I am. There we go. All right, Larry, let's move over from LMP2 to GTP, where taking the win tonight, Daniel Molina.
All right, our overall winner tonight in the GTPs, Daniel Molina. And Daniel, it was a chaotic start, but you kind of be able to pull away and keep things slow and steady. But I'll tell you, the amount of traffic tonight seemed to be absolutely chaotic at times. Tell me a bit of what it was like to try and to pick your way through traffic and to try and keep clean out there.
Yeah, good night. Yeah, the race was chaotic with traffic, like all the race. So I saw a lot of penalties, and I assume that it describes how chaotic the race was. I think for this race, being on pole was like mega important, because I was able to at least not being like focused on defending my position or fighting with position and just on traffic. So I try to avoid any unnecessary dive bomb or like trying to predict or understand what other cars could do. So I think it worked very well here. Of course, I've done a lot of laps for this track, and I feel very comfortable with pace, with traffic, but yeah, it was pretty chaotic.
Yeah, tons of traffic tonight. Maybe some folks didn't put in the extra time to really learn the nuance of this track. Clearly, you would put a lot of time in to learn this and to master this and out-qualify the field, and then to be the class of the field for the entire race. Really well done for you tonight to be able to get this victory. But I know that you've got probably some folks watching, maybe from Bolivia, that maybe you want to give a mention to here.
Yeah, of course. I don't know who is like specifically watching, but I'm pretty sure that was one of them was my father and my girlfriend. So a big hug to them. Yeah, they are always like supporting me, and it's like more special when these things or these races got this like perfect like to share with them. So yeah, thank you for that.
Yeah, well, awesome job tonight. Any other mentions you want to give, teammates or anyone else?
Yeah, of course. Congratulations for all of the drivers on the podium. My teammate Taka as well. We got pretty important points to the team's standings. So yeah, pretty happy with that. Again, congrats for all the drivers on podium.
All right, well, congrats to you for getting the victory here tonight in GTP, winning the race here at Portimao. Rosso Esports, Daniel Molina. Congratulations.
All right, there we go. Thank you very much, Daniel. And looks like with that win tonight, and Larry, his second win, now moves up to, I believe, second in the points. Only a single point separating he and Dalton Fredericks at the moment. All right, let's move over now to the GT3 ranks. We're going to bring in our GT3 Pro winner tonight from Orion Racing, Leo Dragotta.
All right, feels weird to say this at round 4, getting his first victory in class of the season. Leo Dragotta, and Leo, hard-fought victory tonight. Battles there for a bit with Ken Copeland, and a battle right to the last corners with Mike Dam. Unbelievable. Tell me a little bit about that fight with Dam and how it seems that for a moment there he had the nose ahead, and then you got it back. It looked amazing.
Yeah, Mike was fast. That Bimmer was flying, especially for a car that hasn't been quick in recent years, but he was flying, and then I took way too much fuel, so the gap became closer, but I think he still would have caught me in the end there. But yeah, going into the hairpin, the 5, I went too deep because I was on the inside, so I couldn't really see my braking point, and then he got under me. But luckily you kind of gain a lot on the exits, so I was able to stay side by side with him throughout the rest of the track. And looking at it, he probably could have squeezed me a little bit more, but you know, we don't want to crash each other and get the most viewed short on the racing channel, Apex Racing channel. like we've done in the past. But
We were looking for it. It was almost a highlight moment, but it was a great. We'll probably clip that entire lap because it was such good racing with you guys. It seemed to be nose ahead either one of you right up until about 3/4 from the end.
yeah, I wasn't trying to lose it, but Mike was fast either way, so I gave him my all. And look, we got a nose ahead coming out of one of the sections, and just parked it in the middle of the track throughout the rest. But
That's
yeah.
what you got to do. Yeah, well, great work tonight. Obviously, great pace the whole time. Earlier in the race, had to fight off Ken Copeland. Lots of battles, it seemed, but the traffic tonight, certainly a part of it. Were there moments where you thought the traffic was going to maybe hold you up and cause you a rough result?
Yeah, I had a couple moments with the LP2s going up at the top of the hill. I don't know the turn numbers, but that turn you kind of want to drift out and set up for that last part. So we're all trying to do that, and then we kind of think one of them I tangled with, which didn't help. But luckily I didn't spin leading the race this time. I've done that for the past two.
Yep, and it just shows you the depth of this field. You can't even make a mistake at all, or you're going to lose it and lose 10 positions, it seems. But tonight, no mistakes. You managed to hang on to it and get this victory for you. But I know you've got teams, friends, and family you probably want to give a mention to.
Yeah, friends, family, you guys would broadcast, everybody at the league, Orion, Huffy, and yeah.
All right, well, congratulations. Leo Dragotta from Orion Race Team getting the victory here in GT3 Pro.
Thanks.
All right, Larry, let's move over now to our last interview of the evening. Taking the win tonight in GT3 AM for HTPK Racing in his BMW, Chester Guidry.
All right, Chester Guidry joining us here. And Chester, you seem to like this track. What is it about this place, this BMW, that's a pretty good combo for you?
Hey, guys. Yeah, thanks. Miles always been, I would say, probably my top 3 favorite tracks on the service. I know a lot of people don't particularly care for it, but I don't know, something about the way this track flows just matches up with my driving style. It is very challenging, however. You may have seen throughout the race I had a couple of self-inflicted mistakes during the race, but I was able to recover. So thankfully we got it back going straight with no damage.
Yeah, this place is definitely tough, but if you find the nuances, there seems to be some pretty good speed out there and even ways to fight through traffic. Was the traffic an issue for you tonight? We've talked to a few of the other drivers that seem to be struggling at times, whether it be prototypes coming up behind or maybe even some of the slower GT3s struggling to figure out the blue flags.
Lap 1 is always chaos for sure, so I was really trying to tiptoe and be careful, trying not to damage the car. Once we got spread out, it wasn't too bad, and I think I was really helped by having a significant cushion to second place. I was able to really give a little extra space, more so than if I was in heavy traffic with P2 right behind me. So that helped me out. But yeah, I don't think traffic was that much of an issue for me, but it worked out.
It certainly did, and victories are never easy to come by, but you've got yourself one here tonight. But I know you've probably got a team, some friends and family you want to give a mention to?
Yeah, first and foremost to Ricmotech for sponsoring the series, Apex TV for putting the broadcasts on. You guys do a great job each week. My friends and family that watch the race, and as well as my HTPK teammates, Neil West and Lloyd Cooper, Brett Ballewin, and John Horry. So thanks for another good broadcast, guys, and hope we get to chat again in a couple of more weeks.
Hopefully we do. And so tonight, though, you're going to go savor this victory here. Chester Guidry getting the win here in GT3 and HTPK Racing. Congrats.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
All right, good night, Chester. All right, so Larry, as the points are being tabulated, we can tell you in GT3 Pro, Leah Dragotta at the moment now with a 3-point advantage over Jordan Rick-Sagrini, Ethan Bass, another 8 point, or probably another 5 points back from there. And in GT3 AM, your points leader, Chester Guidry from HTPK, with a 8-point advantage over Chase West with Aaron Sunday running third in the championship, just another point up from Stephen May. All right, so that's going to wrap things up for the interviews. And Larry, as we get ready to wrap up the broadcast, let's take a look at what we've got coming up on the schedule in the next couple of weeks. We've got 2 weeks hanging out in Mexico City. Larry, sounds like a fun party time for us.
Time for a fiesta.
That's it. As next week, the Extreme Motorsports Ricmotech Mini-Mite Sports Car Challenge heads to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for a 60-minute race to the checkered flag. That's for our LMP3 and GT4 racers. And then we stick around because the following Monday night, and again, these races all at 8:10 p.m. Eastern Time, it's going to be November 3rd. It's round number 5 of the World Challenge. Same place, Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, Mexico City, for 75 minutes. And then, 3 weeks from tonight, November 10th, the Mini-Mite Sports Car Challenge heads to Austria and the Red Bull Ring. All right, so for Larry Lefton-Cloud, for Jonathan Grabowski, I'm Greg Ginsburg. Make sure to join us next Monday night, 8:10 p.m. Thanks so much for joining, and we'll see you then.
Ricmotech, high-performance sim racing equipment. There's only one place to go, ricmotech.com.